Okay, well, guys, welcome to our NIL presentation. This is the third out of like 6 presentations that we've done all throughout the academic year. So I really hope that this one will bring it all together. We're going to talk about how to actually secure an NIL deal, which is what I know a lot of you guys are passionate about and want to actually pursue and make happen why you guys are here. So we're talking about how to secure an NIL deal, and then I'm going to hand the mic and the reins over to Ashley from compliance, and she's going to talk about representation and agents and a little bit of what happens after you secure an NIL deal and you may need a little extra support. So she's going to hit that. So here are a couple stats that I had Ashley pull for me. The average transaction value of a Liberty University student athlete for NIL is currently $372.42 with total transaction value of $66,290.61. Not the greatest reader or typer. So that's what we have going on that. But there's been 178 total transactions across all 565 of our NCAA student athletes here, which shows that we have some momentum going and we have some action going. So you guys definitely want to jump on the NIL train and make sure that you're securing yourself a great deal. So let's talk about how to secure an NIL deal. In front of you guys have a worksheet. I am an active note taker, and I would encourage you guys to also take notes. It'll give you some places to fill out, some information that we're talking about, and for you to kind of brainstorm ideas of who you may want to collab with and speak with as well. So for me, when I was thinking of like how to actually come up with an NIL deal, how to secure one, I think it comes down to the 3 C's. 1 is consider, 2 is communicate/connect, and 3 is contract. If you're taking notes, this would be a great place to write it. Let's try it again. 3 steps. 1 is to consider, 2, communicate and connect, 3 is contract. So those are the 3 points that I'm going to be touching on today. Is everyone good? You can send me a wink if you're done in the back. Thank you, Harrison. Okay, here we go. So when you're considering your NIL deal and what you're really like trying to come up with, you need to think about your interests, your strengths, and your beliefs, because you want to make sure that you're aligning yourself with a business who works with you and really believes the same things. They have the same morals, the same standards, and everything like that. Hey, Chase. They really want to match you as a person and as an individual, because if you guys aren't a good match, it's not going to work with you being a brand ambassador or you working with them in general. So what I want you guys to do is to think about an organization that aligns with your interests, beliefs, and strengths. I really want this to be conversation based in a couple minutes, so take a couple seconds, think about a business that aligns with you. So are you really into skincare? Is that something that you really believe in? Is, at night putting some serum on your face, and that's something that you can really dedicate yourself to? Are you really into animals? Are you really into Jesus? Are you really into clothing? What are you into? There's a little box on there, y'all. Right-hand side, it's blue. I want you guys, you already got one, good job. So I want you guys to think, just for the next couple of minutes, some brands or organizations that actually align with you. You can think small, you can think big, you can think in the middle, but just think of some things that may align with your member beliefs, your strengths, your interests. And make sure everyone comes up with one, because we're going to share in a minute, and I don't know who I'm going to call on. That's a good one. Candy stores. You do like sugar. That's what I'm talking about. Write it down. Okay, write it down. You got something? You got something? Your NIL deal? This is really good. Oh my gosh, that's so true. Okay, like 30 more seconds. Seems like everyone has something. Would anyone like to share an organization that they believe aligns with who they are as an individual? Yes, Donovan, I saw that hand. Food? Okay, is there like a specific like business or like brand within the food pyramid that you...
Uncrustables or something?
Uncrustables? Okay. Why do you think they align with who you are as a person?
Because I really like PB&J, so...
That is true. Something that you are passionate about would be like a business or organization that you would want to connect and commit to. So I like that. Okay, ladies up front, my gigglers. Yes?
I'm thinking rookies. Rookies.
That could be. Alliteration is always really cool in a business for sure.
So
Okay. Why do you align with them? Minus the rhyming portion.
Because I love rookies.
Yes, that's absolutely. That's something you would want to work with. You want to work with a business that you like. You would never want to work with a business that you think does a terrible job or isn't good. Anyone in the back? Yes.
Zaxby's, because my name's Zach.
Okay, again, there we go with the alliteration and the rhyming. I like it. Okay, cool. Anyone else have one that's outside the box? CJ, Chase? A recovery type of business or something like that? It makes sense as an athlete, right? Okay, Chase? Nope. Moving on. Jerry?
Jeremy.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Why do you think you align with them? Listen, everyone's very passionate, but yes, I think those are all really good outside, businesses you want to align with. You want to stay away from things that you wouldn't mesh with, like at a Christian organization. I'm on film, so I cannot say a lot, but you would probably want to stay away from businesses that do shady stuff or things that don't align with what God or the Bible tells us to do, right? So I like all your examples. So some top NIL deals to consider. Brand reps. You could host your own camps or clinics, Chase. So you could have the Chase Mitchell football speed camp or something like that, right? You could do appearances. You could sign some memorabilia, get your autograph out there, make some money. You could work on licensing apparel and collectives, right? Chase. So we already have student athletes that are doing that, right? So some examples we have right now. So who knows Darius? Yeah, how could you not know, right? He's on the basketball team. He's about to graduate. He's about to be done. He has a partnership with Shoals where he's making it. He's doing a great job there, but he's been on commercials. He does social media partnerships. He is really just their brand rep. And you also have our big guys. Is that okay to say? We have our big boys on the football team who have partnered with County Smoke, and so they're able to represent that brand and get something out of it as well. And then you have Luke Eberly, who's on the men's soccer team. He has a brand partnership with Samaritan's Feet, who their basic mission is to put shoes on the feet of children in need. So he has a partnership with them, and you can see what he's up to.
He's also raised almost $50,000.
It's crazy. And student athlete development plug on the 27th of, sorry, I feel like it's the lighting. The 27th of April from 4 to 7, he's going to be doing a shoe distribution at RS Payne Elementary School. If you have served over there, you notice that there's a need for those children. And so he's going to ask that we have student athletes present there. So you need some CCR hours or you feel like giving back, that's a great opportunity. What'd you say?
How do you sign up? What day is that?
Okay, it's the 27th of April. It's a Thursday. It's from 4 to 7. Sorry, I'm laughing because it's all on film, but the 27th of April from 4 to 7. If you check out my cork board as you enter my hallway, you can sign up there. You can send me a text. You can message me through Teamworks, email, everything like that.
I'll sign up today.
Perfect. Thank you, Chase. So some other things that we have going on. We have appearances. Ashley was just talking about that she just approved a bunch of appearances for student athletes to come to an event, and they got to go to an event, play with kids, talk to some people, and it was super easy. But that's a way to make an NIL deal. You could host your camp and clinic. Kyle Rhodes on the basketball team, he went to his hometown and he had the Kyle Rhodes basketball clinic camp, and where he was able to charge each of the students, or each of the children to come play basketball with him, run a camp, run a clinic, and take that money. You have the licensing apparel. If you look at the Chase Mitchell example that we have up there, Chase is able to put his name and jersey number on apparel items and sell it to people who want to rep that Chase Mitchell.
And just so you guys know, both men's and women's basketball, baseball, and as of today, football, if you are signed up with Brandar to do that, jerseys are now available.
Ooh, limited and exclusive. And then you're also able to take part in the collective. Ashley, can you explain loud and proud what the collective is?
Yeah, so some of you guys probably know this, but essentially a collective is an organization where donors will donate to that, and then that collective will run those NIL deals. What we're seeing right now mostly is our collectives are doing appearances and things like that, where essentially they'll pay our athletes to come be on the podcast. They'll pay our athletes to make appearances. They did something over at the baseball in the suites. They had a couple of, I think it was just football. No, it was basketball. Basketball guys come up, hang out with some boosters for a while during a baseball game, and they got paid to do it. So we have an all-sports collective, and then we have a baseball-specific collective. If you're interested in getting hooked up with those guys, make sure you reach out to them on Twitter or other social media, but it's a really great opportunity.
Absolutely. And so the second step to securing an NIL deal, communicate/connect. So how many of you guys have been to our communication workshops with Dr. Mallory? Great. If you've been there, then you already have a step up about professional communication. But the biggest thing with NIL deals is that they're most likely not going to come to you. Rookies is not going to come knocking on your door because they're like, Brooke, wow, that rhymes. And they're going to be like, let's give this girl an NIL deal. Unless you are just absolutely crushing it on the volleyball court, you guys are killing it on the football field, most likely you're not going to have businesses come pursue you. You have to pursue them. And it all comes down to communication, right? So you want to make sure that you're communicating professionally, and you have to think about the different styles of communication. The way you write a DM is going to be different than the way you write to a business if you're emailing them, or it's going to be different than if you walk up to rookies and you knock on the door and you're asking for the manager to try to talk and pursue that deal. So you really want to think about the way that you're representing yourself in those three different forms of communication. So when it comes to being professional, dress for success. I would say that if you want to go to Zaxby's, Zach, I wouldn't say that you go looking sloppy and smelly after practice, right? You may want to put on a nice little pair of khakis, a little collared shirt that says Liberty Football, something that makes you look professional. Don't forget about your body language. If you go to meet with someone and they're saying something that you may or may not like, they only think you're worth $10, Chase, you probably don't want to give them the stank face immediately, right? Keep the poker face, keep it professional, and know that you're worth more than that, and you would counter that at the end. Make sure you're on time and be responsive. If you have a business reach out to you, don't ghost them, don't be creepy, don't just like leave them on red. You can always counter, you can always communicate, and just making sure that you're talking that deal through. So that is our second point. And the third is the contract. So make sure that for any of your NIL deals, you're setting the parameters of your deal in writing, right? You don't want to get an oral, deal. You don't want to just say, you know what, I promise I'm going to post on social media once a week, or I promise that, I will tell my friends about you. And they're like, we're going to give you $100 each time. And you do that and you never get your $100. You want to make sure you have a written contract, and then you're disclosing that contract to our compliance office every single time. And so you have to think about, like, what are you willing to do? What are you not willing to do? We had one of our student athletes, they were talking through some ideas with me forever ago, and they're like, they want me to post on social media 10 times a week, and then they want me to go on a podcast, then I have to go do an in-person deal once a month. And he was freaking out. He's like, I don't actually have the time for that. Well, if you don't have the time for that, don't sign on the dotted line. Don't tell them and commit to that deal until you really think it through. So he was able to negotiate, and what he told me afterwards, that he was only going to post on social media once a week. And yes, he could do an in-person deal or a podcast, but that it wasn't going to be an every single day type of thing. So you really need to think about what you're actually willing to commit. And your deal can comprise of, social media posts, in person. So just really think about it. If you're in season, you're out of season, what can you realistically do, and what can you handle as, on top of your plate. But I just say always make sure you have your NIL deals written down. You don't want to be taken advantage of. You don't want to be promoting a business and then get burned on the end. So just make sure that you have your contracts lined up. And so I'm going to hand it over to Ashley from compliance, and she's going to talk about agents and representation and what they can do to support you through NIL deals as well.
So we're going to chat a little bit about agents and representatives. You may be sitting here being like, I'll never have an agent. I'm not going to need a representative. I don't have any level of need for that. Even if you don't ever run into it, we want you to know about it. We want you to understand it. And we also kind of want you to understand how they can be beneficial to you, even if you don't think you need one. So some of the not so fun stuff, but the necessary end of the agent spectrum is understanding that there are state laws involved when it comes to agents interacting with you guys, not only when it comes to potentially going pro, but also when it comes to the NIL space. Virginia specifically does have a law that requires agents to be registered with the Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation. And then essentially what this means is they have to register with the state, they'll get a registration number. they have to register within 7 days of making contact with any student athlete inside the Commonwealth of Virginia, or the contracts that they do are void. And what that means is they're not enforceable. So if you had an issue, you could essentially be like, well, this contract is void, right? So it's a little bit more complicated that, but just keep in mind, if an agent ever approaches you for any reason, they must be registered with the state of Virginia. In addition to that, we also require an institutional registration. Essentially what this does is allow us to have on record who's communicating with our athletes, and it's essentially a protection mechanism where we're just trying to make sure that there aren't any bad actors reaching out to you guys, that y'all are kind of protected, just an additional layer. But all of that information is available online, and it's pretty simple. Okay, so what you can't do currently with an agent while you still have NCAA eligibility left is procure any sort of professional opportunities or procure opportunities that also violate other NCAA rules, pay for play, gambling, that type of thing. Okay, so you're still bound by that. However, what you can do is have an agent for NIL specifically while you have eligibility remaining. You can also have a brand manager or any sort of representation. So all of those rules that were there previously have all been lifted. You can now have all of those things permissibly and not lose your eligibility. So what we see agents doing are finding NIL opportunities, reviewing and negotiating contracts, managing your deliverables. And what that means is we'll use, like, if you're a brand rep and they say you need to post 3 times a week for 2 months, an agent sometimes, and that's why it says sometimes in parentheses, can actually make sure that you're doing those things. So they can actually check up on you, create a calendar for you, that type of thing. Sometimes that's a manager role, but some agents will do that for you. They can also create and keep a calendar of your engagements, appearances, autograph signings, camps, clinics, that type of thing. And they can disclose your deals for you. I've worked with several agents since NIL started here at Liberty that have been really great to work with, and they can actually completely take the kind of pain of disclosing to the compliance office every time you have an NIL deal away for you. So they'll just do it for you. So there are differences between managers and agents, right? So both are representative of you. Both can seek things out on your behalf and even contract on your behalf if you've given them that ability. An agent is generally going to focus on getting you those opportunities. So they're going to reach out to the brands for you. They're going to send those introductory emails. They're going to be the ones knocking on the doors and making the phone calls to try to find you deals. Essentially, they're going to be trying to maximize the amount of money that they're making you, because when they make you money, they make money. So that's what an agent is going to do. A manager could be something completely different, and it could just be somebody managing your time differences between class and practice and NIL opportunities and things like that. So it's somebody who's going to be a little bit more holistic, but that doesn't mean you necessarily want them negotiating your deals. Does that make sense? So they can be the same, but they're not always the same. The big thing about this is kind of knowing when or if you want help, right? Or if you need help. So if you have an inbox on Instagram that's full of DMs, or even half full of DMs, you know, people reaching out to you for various things, and you need somebody in your corner to vet those for you, you probably need an agent, right? If you came to my office and were like, man, I just can't handle this, I'm gonna say go find an agent. You know, let's figure that out. If you're struggling to manage opportunities, if kind of what Lauren said, if there's a situation where you don't want to post 5 times every week, you'd prefer to post only 1 time a week, an agent can handle that negotiation for you on the front end, so you don't ever end up on the back end having to make those changes or getting stuck not fulfilling those opportunities. Then, if you just want to have more opportunities, there's nothing wrong with saying, I only have one NIL deal right now, but I'd like to do a whole lot more, and I need somebody to find those opportunities for me. That's the purpose of an agent. So it isn't always, man, they're busting down my door. It can also be, I just want to be more involved. I want to do more things. I want to make more money. It can be those things as well that an agent can help. And you may have to seek out an agent may not seek out you for that type of situation, but there's a ton of agents out there who are building reputable NIL companies that could help. So that's kind of it, unless you guys have questions on the agent front. We just want you to know, be aware, that type of thing. So as it says, you can come talk to me I'm in the compliance office. Also work with Lauren and a group of others on the NIL committee. We're more than happy to answer questions.
We had a secret question come in, actually, from a student out there. They want
Secret
to know
question. Love
if
that.
I am allowed or who is actually allowed to help us get connected with NIL deals. If student athlete development can help, if compliance can
Yeah.
help, who do they go to if they're trying to, work with a company?
So right now, the NCAA does limit who can help you guys institutionally. This changed back in October. So currently, no one at the institution can help you actually go get deals. So even if I know something exists, I can tell you about it, but that's it, right? So just like the group licensing thing, right? I know it exists. We send emails out about it. We want you guys to get as involved in that as you want to. But what happens between you and Brandar, like that's y'all. The county smoke stuff, like we know it exists, and if somebody wants to do that, we can say, yeah, absolutely, go reach out to county smoke, but I can't reach out to county smoke for you. So we're really limited in that vein, but we can always brainstorm, kind of help you figure out, if you're trying to figure out what companies to go to. We can help you, with those elevator pitches, what to write in a DM, what to write in an email. We can do all of that type of stuff. We just can't physically act as an agent for you, if that makes sense.
Any other questions, secret or not? Ashley, you've mentioned this about 100 times to me. What is an untapped market that our student athletes are currently not taking advantage of in the NIL front?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
That you always
Yeah. So I was like, what do I tell you all the time? So realistically speaking, we have a really unique market at Liberty, being that we are a Christian institution and that you all are athletes attending a Christian institution. I can count on one hand, actually maybe even just 2 people, 3 with Luke, who have actually done anything with a Christian brand, any sort of Christian branding. No one has really stepped out. I guess we could look back to like Malik, obviously he did that a little bit, but no one has really tapped into that. No one has really gone out on a limb to kind of use that as a huge part of their NIL space, other than Luke Eberly, who Lauren mentioned, who's working with Samaritan's Feet. So yeah, Major League untapped. Obviously, not trying to tell you to profit off of your religion or your faith, but there's a lot of opportunity there, even if it's just getting hooked up with an organization like Samaritan's Feet or any of these other Christian organizations out there to see how you can serve. Chances are benefit's going to come back to you in some form or fashion, right? Even if it's not an immediate paycheck. So definitely an opportunity.